Hello people, and welcome back to part 11 of Ilos, our modded city Skylines build. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. And thank you so much indeed for all the support during the live stream over the weekend. We had a really nice time continually expanding the waterfront here, introducing some little beach vibes, bringing some pathways, and a great idea from EMB, who now has the beach named after him, of course, EM Beach. To tear a key against a beach. A huge fan of this, and we'll definitely do this again in the future. Very much a huge lover of that. More tourism, touches of green cities as well, and then we even did a really nicely decorated commercial waterfront with some repeated green cities housing. To kind of round out the lake here around Steve Goodwin Square. Oh yeah, and also upgraded into the 6-lane American Stone Bridge as well, which is a great aesthetic, isn't it? Over the water with the perfect archways. Let's just fix these idiots with a little bit of traffic manager. So they just go through. Go on, just go. Idiots. There we go. Yes, we also came through to the stadium near the Tucson University and drew in some more car parking with some coconut trees. Which people pointed out this would be an incredibly dangerous place to park. You're parking right beneath some coconut palms, but I think it's worth it to visit Ilos, isn't it? It is a risk worth taking. However, in today's episode, I want to start working on the first divided mile grid, because so far all we've done is these big full complete ones with multiple suburb designs and of course the university. But where the diagonal road flows through, we have to of course fill these spaces, and there's a very distinct type of kind of zoning technique and designs that are used in Phoenix when this happens. So of course we will dive over into Google Earth. And welcome to Google Earth, everyone. So of course this is our big diagonal high-speed access road that we're working with in City Skylines. That goes straight into the heart of downtown Phoenix over here. So what we're interested in looking at today is how the mile grid behaves when this road passes through it. And there's a lovely little example of what's happening here. So we have some suburban stuff. This is nothing we haven't seen before, just back-to-back suburbia with a alleyway or walking path in between. Okay, nothing particularly amazing about that. And a high school with some baseball fields and a running track as well. All very easily replicatable in City Skylines, of course. But on the opposite side of the diagonal arterial, I guess, is an industrial area. And it's not just generic industrial zoning. There is strong kind of pallet container vibes over here, okay? Oh, we also have rail coming through here too. It looks like cars are being loaded. Definitely some kind of diesel tankers here. So we can bring the rail yard into it. Of course, lots of car parking and what looks to be some larger sort of distribution warehouses here, okay? These kind of big old HGVs here waiting to be loaded and then shipped around. Taking a look at the street view along the main road, we can see that the single rail out here splits into a ladder system where cars can be loaded and unloaded or wait to come into the industrial area. So we split into 4 rails here before, again, as it moves away from this area, it then moves back into a single track over here. Lots of scrapyard vibes as well. So today's episode is very much going to be a practice in mixed use zoning, industrial and residential very close and nearby to each other, separated by the diagonal cut through arterial. So some nice ideas in store today in order to fill out the next mile grid frame. Let's get started, shall we? Okay guys, so forest brush the area as always so we don't get any cactus on road action. The first thing I want to have a look at is kind of decorating the diagonal arterial, if you like, because there's quite a few car parks and indeed some interesting types of zoning and buildings that sit along this road, including but not limited to things like recycling centres. So I think I'm definitely happy to bring one of these onto the industrial side of the building as well. Let's make sure we come in and just finagle this over with move it as well. Okay, we can drag this in here. And then there's even stuff like used car dealerships and kind of small, almost street food looking stands here. So we'll definitely set up some stuff like this. Let's go ahead and get some car parking down, of course. And within the arterial road as well, there is these big old stretches of kind of these rural power lines that we are, of course, also fond of. And they actually kind of flank both sides of the road, which I'm happy to do. We'll maybe bring this down up and over into the campus somewhere where we can hopefully steal a temporary electricity connection for right now. That should be okay. Very nice indeed. So we'll start out with this one here. And then let's also come into some car parking as well. And we'll drop this on the front so we can at least see it functional. And then of course what we'll do toward the back end of the arterial here is develop another on and off system today. Very much in the vein that we've done over here, right? So people can enter and exit from this point. That's going to be fine right there for right now. So the next kind of key aesthetic of the main road here is to bring in our rail lines, and they kind of fan out into a pack of 5. So let's just snap to the road guideline first. I think this is going to help us out a little bit, isn't it? Okay, let's go for that one. We'll have that one there. And we can hopefully just bring these in nice and close to each other now. So I'm counting 5 on Google Earth, so I'll go with 5 for right here. And then the main line will, of course, continue. And it also separates off into this direction as well. If you're wondering which rails these are the North American Rail Pack. Same ones that we used in 5B, for those of you that followed that series. Okay, and then let's bring this down. You will connect into there. And then we'll just repeat this process now as we build kind of the train's ladder where they can come in and wait to be loaded. Alright, we are getting perhaps some touches of junk there where Anarchy isn't overly happy with us, but it looks like it can be fixed. Initial impressions, I probably want these to run for a little bit longer yet, so why don't we have a little look at bringing especially some of the first ones down. Maybe have one in like there. And then we'll leave the others to run at shorter distances, which should be quite nice. Hopefully a move it little adjustment should make that a little more realistic. Yeah, I'm happy with that now. That's going to be fine. Very nice indeed. And then let's get these in now as well. This one can run down to this side. And then also over here again as well. So yeah, I think I'm happy with that. And then again, now the ladder just needs to collapse on the opposite side of the rail yard, I guess it is, isn't it? I guess you could count this as a rail yard, right? Not entirely sure. Okay, and that should do us for right now. So we can even have a little brief example of what dropping some of these little locomotive props along the track might look like. I do need to actually go ahead and grab some cars, but hopefully with a little bit of prop anarchy. And indeed, once we do have those box cars in, we can maybe even just temporarily pretend with some shipping containers. I realise these are not cars, but just bear with me, right? We will get some of the workshop. But, you know, just a locomotive here that's waiting to be serviced by the industrial area here, waiting to come in and be loaded, you know, before it heads off into, you know, California or wherever it's going, or Ilos or Palavan, not California. Okay, so very nice prop detailing to be had today, I feel. So another real key aesthetic of these kind of mixed-use industrial areas is kind of big warehouses, distribution centres, is at least what we would call them in the UK. So let's come on to some industrial road, and I'm going to grab just a regular small industry for this one. We will try and match up with the other collector systems on this road. We definitely want traffic lights here too. Very nice. So we're going to have that, and just remembering that You know, again, referring back to our Google Earth inspiration, the rail line sticks very close to the road network and indeed close to a lot of the car parks as well. So we'll do another 120 there. Then let's bring these down as well. Let's come off our road guideline. And then we'll start setting up some initial frames for placement of industrial themed and looking assets. So 100%, we do have some new Rico buildings we can come into our industry. So I'm using a lot of Avania's warehouses here. I will leave a big bulk of my industrial props linked down below today if you want to come and find them. But a lot of Avania's warehouses, which do satisfy industrial demand, and which there isn't vast amounts of in the city yet at the minute, but there will be once we get some people living over this way, I think. And of course, let's not forget some classic Industries DLC warehouses either. And I definitely think the large industry warehouse is going to really hammer home that kind of distribution center feel, you know? I think it is for me anyway, so I definitely want something like this in here. But again, asset orientation is massively important, especially since this thing's going to be surrounded by a ton of car parks. And I think, again, visually, orientation, I want the kind of trains backing up onto the courtyard here. It details itself, doesn't it? I mean, look at that. That's perfect. That's exactly what I want. Maybe a touch closer than that. Yeah. Almost like, you know, workers can get out onto the tracks here if they need to, where there's the little sliding gateway. And you've got all these little doors and, you know, windows here for trucks to come in and be loaded. I'm going to be happy with that. Let's get rid of this frame now. Now we know where our first warehouse is going to sit. Let's also turn off road bending and try and come out from a sensible point here. We will come on with anarchy too, with no road length. We will manually eye this up if we can. There we go. That's going to be splendid. And then the car parks that I'm seeing in Phoenix aren't particularly anything to write home about. They're just kind of basic tarmacked or concrete parking lots. But definitely we'll use the poorly maintained pack for them. Because it's dilapidated, it's a little bit industrial. Let's go for a 4 gap here. That should give us enough room. And again, I am now slowly learning to give access to both sides of a car park. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and grab some of those car parking decals again. And we can drop a few of these in. So of course, as always, I don't really want vast amounts of zoning sat on the arterial road itself. So with that in mind, let's start coming down with some more frames now. And we can start to have a look at placing some of these Rico industrial buildings. So we've got a little old factory here. Old factory 8x6 on the corner. Now again, looking at Google Earth, it's a very harsh transition between residential and industrial in Phoenix. They are quite literally just adjacent from the street to each other. Which we'll have to be careful with in city skylines, of course, due to noise pollution and land pollution values too, but shouldn't give us too much of an issue, I don't think. And I don't think I'm hating the red brick warehouses here either. So something else we're also seeing in Phoenix is container yards, or kind of, some of them actually look like pallets alongside kind of traditional shipping containers like this. So thankfully these do work with the prop line tool, so we can give them a little more space, and let's go for 16 meters. That seems to be sensible. Let's go for that one. So we'll go for, say, 4 in a row. Then we'll do these ones. Don't forget to turn off auto default though. I do every single time. 4 of those in, and then 3 of these. Then hopefully we can just use move it now to drag them in line. And then we can mix and match now so they're not constantly in repeatable patterns. Just mix and match them up if you want. Of course you can just place them yourself so you don't have to do this, but it's nice just to get them in line with the prop line tool anyway. Okay, and then I think what we can do is now grab the whole thing, do a little copy and paste, and then spin it around 180 degrees, and then we can place them in. And then what I'm hoping for here now is to select them all again, and then place them in, but this time have them stacked on top of the previous one. this will be a very careful alignment. Otherwise things can go terribly wrong and they'll start falling off of each other. So we'll see how we get on here today. Think I'm happy with that. Okay, it's an aesthetic, isn't it? And then definitely to surround this, lots and lots of surface painter in between the car park here. Probably all over today. We will do some specks of sand though, especially with this texture over here. Kind of a more ruined one. Now it'd be really cool again with the endless discoveries that we're making in modded cities, Skylines, just to have some more walkable pathways that will allow people to move between the containers, so kind of like they are actually workers in the container yard. And probably oil fence is going to be our best friend here, isn't it, for making this look somewhat sensible. Let's bring it down here as well. So kind of like an extra storage yard off the edge there. We can come into some decals where we do have these big stain boys, or kind of the scuffed up ones. Although we do need to grab a tree so we can change our forest brush down. There we go. And then lots of these little scuffed up decals around here should, again, just add a little bit of age into the area, right? A little bit of personality. And I'm not adverse to perhaps maybe even just removing a couple of little shades of the surface painter around the edge. And this is going to be a great opportunity for some of those content creator grasses to come in and add a little bit of overgrowth and personality into the fence, so it's not just flat concrete. We can bring a little something into the area like this, okay? Very nice. They definitely blend into the area, I think, once the whole area comes together, but it's certainly a start. Let's give this one to store probably generic zoned commercial goods. That's going to be fine. We only really have a farm area at the minute, but there's no need to go and store the farm products all the way out here. So let's come in with another car park design now. Again, I think I'm going to stick to my 40 meter poorly maintained, or at least let's bring this one out by 4. And then we'll move over to that one. Yeah, happy with that. Again, we'll dive back into Rico and start having a look at some of these industrial block buildings. These can definitely be kind of combined and shifted around to merge into each other maybe. So this one's got some action on the front there as well. Yeah, definitely how it kind of passes through. Do like that. And it'll look great once we actually get some freight trains coming through here as well, like actual functioning trains. That's going to look really cool. I'm also not totally ignoring the possibility of including a unique factory here. Although we don't have a forestry area at the minute, we could include the bakery, because we are making all the products we need. Yeah, we have crops, animal products and flour, which the farm over here is producing for us, all of that. Again, orientation and positioning is going to be really important. I think it's going to be a similar story with the industries warehouses, that I want those silos and that arse end of the building just to back onto the rail line a little bit. So let's grab the industrial road again, bring that out to there. I actually might make this one dirt. Yeah, let's not have every road kind of tarmacked, okay? And then again, I want these to sit parallel with the rail, because that's going to be such a key point of decoration today. Got some parking in there. And again, maybe some touch of fencing now. I think I'm happy for perhaps some ore industry fence to maybe spam out of the bakery. This can come down and into a corner. You imagine that would be there for some kind of safety, you know, in case anyone accidentally hits the accelerator and drives out to be T-boned by a freight train. That's not going to be a good day at the office, is it? Okay, let's just come in together, I think. Again, all angles are going to be massively important. We shouldn't ignore as well the vanilla industry assets, because there is definitely some buildings here that will fit our theme, including but not limited to a cargo yard, I definitely want a couple of these in around here. Also these silo looking ones as well. There is a fair few silos knocking about, so again, I think a little dirt road here now is going to be appropriate. Let's come into our rural builds and we'll grab a little, let's go for the 1 unit one actually, something a little shorter. Okay, bring it around the side there. And also up here too. And maybe one out there. This should now allow us to start bringing in a couple of these guys. Again, move it's going to finagle them into position, of course. Let's just drop down what we want. First of all, definitely want some of these as well. Oh yes, and some of these little water tower things near the rail yard. Almost as like it's a little water refill station for trains. I guess that would only really make sense if they're steam engines though, right? Not that I know anything about locomotives. So if anyone is experienced in the field, please feel free to correct me in the comments today. Probably will get quite a few things wrong. Okay. So repeated silos is definitely something I'm seeing in Phoenix too. Start bringing these in. Okay. Oh yes, there's a train. There it is. There it goes through the yard. It's an aesthetic, isn't it? It is. I like that. That's good. We do need to make this a proper crossing though. At the minute it is just anarchied across the road, which looks ridiculous, but we'll fix that, don't worry about that. So the next thing I want to do before adding any more kind of large industry or factory assets here is to actually come in and rework this slip road on the diagonal turn, because this needs to be sort of a priority really. So we will pick our highway road. Again, we will force into ground, but I want to come up by 10 meters beforehand. Let's go for road guideline as well on road length. And we will tether onto this one most likely. This can come away now too, just while we get positioned. Do 15 units there. Let's go for 9. That's 10 units. Let's go for 20 in total then. Of course, with anarchy, we can come right over. Likewise over here again as well. Slowly descend back down to the earth. Might actually be worth keeping this one elevated as it comes over the highway into the downtown eventually, but we don't have to worry about that just yet. Still a whiles away from the downtown yet, everyone. Okay, so we want to come up with a slightly different ramp system here. So I think actually what's going to happen is I'm going to keep this elevated for a touch longer yet. Okay, let's go for maybe there. That's going to be okay. We've still got a lot of room to play with here. And then you're going to come down, which we'll use network multi-tools slope function in a minute. So I want to force a section of this into elevation. Only one section though. That's kind of what I'm after, but I want it on a slightly shorter section than that. So hopefully this will work. We'll replace the node there, force that back down to the ground. Not do that, and then delete that. There we go. This is what I want. And then we'll force this down to the ground. It can hopefully come straight under here. Yes, it can. Amazing. Though we do want to start bringing in some little freeform curves at some point. Let's come on parallel now and down and into that point. Likewise with this one, it can come off and start heading up this way. Again, Google Earth, fantastic for these designs. Make sure that our directions are facing the same way. And then just a case of adjusting our final positions with move it and whatnot. Of course, you can use network multi-tools curve function with this if you like. Doesn't have to be drawn manually. Everyone's preference will be different for what works best for you. Or that'll at least give us directional access on this Margrid frame over here. Alright, again, lots of palms and happy action is going to happen over here too. There's also probably a good spot here for the road to peel off and act as a kind of a secondary access point here back onto the road. Yeah, a little bit of something like that, you know. So they can decide which way they want to come and go from. There we go, it's already getting used. Police car picking up that slip road back onto the highway. Yes, we want to stop that from happening though. that is not appropriate. Let's fix that. That's just a lane turning issue. No left turn. Yeah, please, boys and girls. We're allowed to turn right. Okay. Our recycling truck's also using that way to get back into the frame now too. Which is great, you know. Stops them going in for backing all this up. And we can see now we are getting a ton of worker demands, of course, because we've placed in a lot of industrial stuff. So we need workers to come and work here. So let's pause the game so nothing starts to abandon or kick off. And we can start having a little chat about the second half of the Mark grid frame here today. As to what industrial layouts are going to sit, or what residential layouts are going to sit here. Again, whilst we're in the Mark grid frame, I'm thinking I'm going to stick with my little palm collector system here, just so the area is nice and consistent. And let's have a look where we are to here. That's a distance of 2640. That is that node there. In that case, so let's do a 20 point there. A 20 point there. And then we'll grab our curve road tool. It's going to connect in perfectly. So let's get this little residential neighborhood laid out. Again, taking inspiration from Phoenix. And then we can get some zone-ins to come and work over here. I think what will be good as well is lots of elevated walking pathways back and two, so people can move between industry and residential. That should be quite nice, shouldn't it? Anyway, let's get it laid out. So we now have Mehmet Bariskan District. Thank you so much for always support Mehmet. You're a real secret blend of herbs and spices, mate. I'm going to go for the single story US res theme, which is kind of a nice happy medium of acceptable residential assets. Of course, saving our middle tile for pathways to come through. Keep everyone nice and walkable here today. And we can use Move It to design the cul-de-sac. Come our detail and time lapse today, of course. But this initial kind of batch of residential should give us enough demand to satisfy the workers in the new industrial area, which will stop everyone from abandoning. And let's come up through here as well. Wonderful. And then point 2. Also through here. Of course, these guys will want schools and parks and whatnot to live here, even though they are opposite the prestigious Tucson or Tucson University, so they should want to live here without too much encouragement. But we'll throw them down at a little park anyway. Let's go for, might as well do a baseball park while we're carrying the heavy Phoenix vibes, right? Let's get one over there. Maybe a dog park on the corner of the suburb too, and maybe a vanilla small park. I haven't seen too many of these around Ilos recently. So we'll get those in. Should keep everyone mostly happy. We do need to reinstate the bicycle highway though, which for those that haven't seen, because it's been a live stream edition, we are implementing the bicycle highway by using Anarchy to get the bike paths on top of the median around the Ultimate American Road Park. So a huge fan of that, and it was getting some nice use once it was hooked in anyway. Hopefully once we're hooked in here a little more sensibly, potentially with network multi-tools create connection mode here. I want it to be at this point though. And then we'll use it to bend it over. Get rid of this one. There we go. And then if we hit enter, it will create the connection, which of course it looks... Oh, does it look ridiculous though? Could we bring it under the bridge? and have bridge over bridge action. I guess we need to finish this road first, don't we? That would be helpful. This now wants to become bridge then in that case. Now what's happened to you? Yes, you have broken, haven't you? That's fine then. Let's repeat the connection. Oh no, not with that. Don't do it with that. Let's do it with, yeah, these two. Select those two nodes. And then it's probably just a case now of selecting the two nodes together, and then with a little bit of page up, we should hopefully be able to stay clear of the bridge and the road and let it travel under. Now ideally I'd like to wait for a cyclist to come by just to make sure that they're not going to bump their head along the top bridge. That would be hilarious, right? Someone had a go at me for digging a headache tunnel in Minecraft the other day. It wasn't someone, it was DM. DM does not like my headache tunnels on the community Minecraft server. Here we go. Here is a... Oh, no, he disappeared. He wasn't feeling brave enough to take on the bridge. Okay, well, we'll leave it like that for right now. I think it looks sensible enough. There is definitely some height clearance there. If it looks crap anyway, we'll just bring it over. I probably will end up bringing it over, but we'll let it settle in. And of course, now that we have our kind of bridge configured, we can just soften out all of these initial mounds that we've created so it blends in a little easier. Okay. Not too bad at all. Not too bad. Let's go ahead and get this growing. I have found a little bit of a bug recently with zonable assets that when you do create a district, sometimes it wants just a little bit. You see how once I place it, it then starts growing? It's only happened since the airports DLC's come in, so I'm guessing it's a bug. Not too sure. But either way, that's going to fill out some residential opposite our industrial here and start to satisfy everyone. Let's continue to map out some industrial patterns. Let's go for our industry road and we'll grab some more of it and start bringing it out here, and maybe have a little chat about some road against road action if we like. I guess this would... no, this wouldn't count as a frontage road, would it? It's just a road next to a road. I guess. I guess that's what it is. And then this will come under as well. So let's break this road here. This one as well. And then you are now going to sink down again by 10 meters is always kind of my favorite median. Let's go for -10 there. That's wonderful. Again, we'll snap to the angle. We'll come straight under, and then you can slowly rise back up to the earth. So this line here is more than likely going to end up being a passenger line, because this one's going to go into the downtown, whereas this one heads off and out of the map. So we will have passenger trains through here too, I think. Alright. Let's grab the tram road. That is over here because we will need to force this into an elevation as it comes over the rail line. It's going to be great. Again, a little bit of move it is going to help us settle into the landscape a little easier, I feel. And definitely some network multi-tool sloping function here too, so we're not quite as gnarly there. There we go. It's a little bit more sensible, isn't it? Do the same over this side as well. Of course, a little bit of softening is going to be tremendously appreciated just to help that blend into the area. Lots of overgrowth and rocks around here as well to decorate the in public transport lines. We're now starting to see layers of public transport starting to happen in Ilos. Trams, train and bike all crisscrossing each other. Likewise with the road network too. So it's nice to finally start seeing what is very much my style of play of lots of combining public transport coming into play. Here we go. We have some cyclists now. Actually, so what? Let's get a first-person view of it as well, coming from the other direction. They definitely have enough room, don't they? Yes, more than enough. All right, let's see if we can get... Yeah, here we go. Here's another one. Let's take Ashlyn Young's first-person perspective. Ashlyn despawned, so we won't have a look at her. Let's wait for Oscar Ward. So the first person camera is ever so slightly higher than the person's actual face. So here it look. Oh, actually, are they clipping into it? It looks like they might be actually, you know. It's hard to tell, isn't it? I think they are. I think they are clipping into it, aren't they? Alright, in that case, then I'm just going to raise it up so it comes over. Is that okay? It's not. We'll network multi-slope it, of course. Let's go for that one. Let's get a gradient in. And then from this node down to the second node, get another in as well. And then I will just copy and paste my little pillar with move it. There we go. Okay, I think that's a little more sensible, isn't it? More layers of height as well. There we go. There's, what, 4 layers in there? In that one screenshot? Yes, please. Very nice. Yeah, alright. That's not going to be too bad. I think I'm fairly happy with that. So let's carry on zoning up or placing in some of Vanya's Rico warehouses, because again, all going to help contribute to the feel of the area, I think, isn't it? So this one and this one will combine really nicely, and we'll select both of them with move it. Give them a touch of finagle as we come over here. Now we are exposing a little bit of the foundation there against the rail, but I kind of don't mind that. I think it definitely just wants to be moving over a little bit though, so it's not quite as severe. And then can we back it onto the industries warehouse as well, so it's almost kind of like an extension of it? We can indeed. Come into level terrain, and I'm going to bring these ones back up and across. Don't have quite as much of a ditch there. And I think some more rural 1 unit roads are going to be more than appropriate for serving these guys. Start back into Rico. And then let's go for... I think I want a few of these little industry blocks quite isolated. Maybe in this kind of open space here. Almost as like the kind of older, more knackered ones that no one really works at anymore. Or like they're waiting to be demolished. We could even bring this one over the rail. Oh, yes. Is that a little bit of yes, please, everyone? I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, it is. 100% is. Yes, we will have to do something with that, I think. Alright, with that idea in mind then, if that's the aesthetic that we're going to run with, let's come in and grab some industrial road again, and we'll bring this... Oh, it's fine, I'll do it at the car parks, that's okay. That's okay. And then we'll grab some dirt road, and then we can use a lot of props to detail this as well, because I am also playing with some custom kind of scrapyard props as well. So we can definitely get these out here. There's also little tiny baby warehouses. Like a Martin manufacturing company, whoever Martin is. Maybe get some more containers out here as well if we like, and perhaps start discussing some initial overgrowth and detailing patterns using our favourite grasses and things from Ilos that we've been so fond of so far in the series. Okay, certainly lots of palms and stuff too. And perhaps even a daring touch of nature reserve fence near the older part of the industrial area, where things are perhaps starting to become a little bit more dilapidated and overgrown. Yeah? I think we can get on board with that, right? That speed sign needs to go. That looks a bit weird, but other than that, we can definitely get on board with it, right? We're seeing this rail area starting to come together a little bit more. That one's fixing. That was a little bit strange, but otherwise, traffic's moving in around the industry area nicely. Always got to be careful, of course, when playing with industry DLC stuff. So let's carry on zoning up, because our friends by the university are whinging that they still don't have enough workers. So that is what we will give them. Also got some services over here for these guys too. Let's get in a fire station will be a good shout for the industrial area actually. Want to go for a vanilla one? Yeah, I think we will. I think we'll go for a vanilla one. And then the police station. I'm always a lover of this cute little suburban one, although the precinct does look really nice on a corner though. We do have one further down though, so let's just go for a regular one again, I think. Maybe just here in the middle of the suburb, and plenty of part detailing around this once we come to it during today's detailing time lapse. Okay, actually maybe we can give that a little parking lot. I think it'd be rude not to try, right? Let me actually remember to put in some disabled spaces though. Might be helpful. And then maybe we can position our police station here with a little bit of service paint in between to flesh out that texture. I think everyone's going to be mostly on board with that. Again, with some pathways to link everyone back onto. And perhaps a little planter there as well, just to bring in a touch of personality. Actually, you know what? I know which one I want to use. I want to use the amusement park ones again. That we used on the live stream on Saturday. Yeah, these nice little bench and tree ones, okay? Get them to sit opposite. I'm happy with that. It's a nice little way of using an asset, isn't it? And it's finally nice to see the burning Tucson University. Oh, it's on fire yet. Oh dear, the dorms. Oh no. We've got some crispy students. We'll wait for that to burn, or at least get put out. And then, but yeah, as I was saying, it's nice to see Tucson University now start to become surrounded by kind of endless suburban sprawl. This is very much what it looks like in Tucson. It just kind of rises out of the suburb with the American football stadium. So happy to see that starting to come in as well. Again, plenty more zoning, of course, walkability to be had in the area. Let's make sure we keep that going. And I'm happy for some houses to appear on the arterial roads here. And now that we have people living in this area, let's also not forget to add in some tram stops so people can actually make use of the public transport here. We'll have 2 in there, and then we'll also have 2 over by the industrial area as well, where once again, hopefully, using the pedestrian crossings, I'm actually going to drag those stops back towards this pedestrian crossing where it turns into a bridge, because yet again, using our favourite fencing techniques, we can hopefully create some more secure vibes alongside the main road, with lots and lots of detailing to be had using our palms, not the content creator palms though. I do like the workshop ones a little bit more. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but the workshop ones are a little bit thinner, or not as girthy, if for lack of a better word, I suppose. Yep, lots of this action happening as well, definitely. Maybe a couple of trees in there too, and a load of cactus around here too. Need to include, is it Saguaro? Is that how you pronounce it? Saguaro? I'm very wary of pronouncing words now after the Tucson incident. Alright. Well, there we go. There's detail up against the arterial now where the trams will come in and stop, and hopefully start to bring people in and out of the area via public transport. There's a couple of people waiting at this stop here now too, which is great news. Wunderbar. Cycle highway coming into action. Housing growing. Everyone's tremendously happy, aren't they? However, guys, that does feel like a wonderful place for a detailing time-lapse. We have a bunch of work to do, including, but not limited to, dropping in the train cars here like we talked about at the start of the episode, using items off the workshop, like the train locomotive packs. Again, all of this will be linked down below if you want to come and play with these assets. Continue to play with the idea of making kind of these little train crossings using the Rico industry buildings. I'm very happy with this. And continue to make some kind of little scrapyard assets around here. Continually place in and refine the vanilla and industries DLC assets alongside some more Rico stuff too. With some more dead space and lots of overgrowth. And then likewise over here towards the other side of the industrial area. A little more plopping, a little more overgrowth, and a little more fencing, just to help tie the area together. But otherwise, let's detail up the fractured mixed zoning mile grid, and we'll be right back. Okay guys, that is going to do it for today. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, likes, comments and shares below really help out my channel. Equally as much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. And if you've really enjoyed it and would like to help support my work, there are links down to Patreon and Instant Gaming below. Really happy with this, and officially my new favourite thing to do in City Skylines is to build rail yards. I've had a great time and putting together all these little train props. It's the first rail yard I've ever built. Of course, you can't really do this in vanilla, which is all I've played before Ilos, and we'll definitely have more rail yards alongside this arterial road as it kind of goes southeast and northwest. But as always, there was a ton of detail and you guys wouldn't have seen, so do hang around for the rest of the outro card and check out this place at night time as it sets into the rest of the mile grid. But we'll shut up and we'll leave it there. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.